Hey everybody, this is Sherry, and this is my first video as a design team member for Crafting Desert Divas, and I am using their digital image called July Bear, and I will make sure that I link to that in the description box, and I will make sure that I put all of the colors that I use for the image on the screen so that you can color along if you'd like to. And again, as I always do, I put my base coat down, then I take my darkest and make where my shadows are going to be, and then I move in toward into the center where the lightest would be. What I did with this one is it's a little difficult. I was kind of struggling moving between um, 41 and 43 for some reason. I don't know. I wasn't getting the blend that I was looking for. So I actually end up going in and adding E42 as well. And then I blend from E44 to 43 to 42 and then down to 41. And you'll be able to see it better here on the feet because I just didn't want you to have to watch me figure this out and struggle and fight with it on the head. But I definitely wanted to show you that I added in an additional collar. And see, there was the 44. Here's the 43. There's the 42 and the 41. So I love that color combo. I'm struggling for some reason with my browns. I don't know why, but that one has just been like a blast for me to play with. So, I'm really enjoying in that one, and it's the E40s. So this one I'm going up to 43, 44, 47, and 49, and 43 was my lightest. So that's the color that is the base of the muzzle. Then there's the darkest for my shadow. I was really happy with how the muzzle came out. I didn't want a lot of the E49, and I was able to keep it, real fine, a real fine line around it. So that made me real happy because I tend to be a little heavy-handed when it comes to coloring. I mean, I'm like an ox. I do everything big. And, it's big or go home, isn't that what they say? So I struggle to do, to put real fine, tiny details. And, but I was real tickled with how that one turned out because I was able to get a good, line, a bead around the side of the image, or the side of his muzzle. And here I am just filling in his ears. And what I did was I took my darkest color and made just a little line up through so that it would appear as if the bear's ear was rounded. And, it would show a little bit of dimension. Now here I am. I started using my R20. I really need to get a refill for my R20, and I keep forgetting. So I switched to R21, and then that makes this so much easier because if your markers are going dry, they will not blend well. You won't have any luck. And if you're sitting there and you're trying and you're struggling and you don't know why, it's because if your markers are dry, you can forget it. So I had originally decided that I was going to do the bear's hat in red, white, and blue. And since I wanted that white, I was putting in the shadows. And so here I go, I'm adding the blue. And then I decide that I don't like the way the white looks. So I'm going to go back in here in a little bit and go over it with the red and color all of it in red and blue because I like that better. And this card is actually going to go to my twin sister. Our birthday is July 4th. And so she's the reason that I chose this image so that I could make it her birthday card. And, when we were young, we absolutely hated, always, every year we got a red, white, and blue cake. Red, white, and blue cake. Because 4th of July. You always got a red, white, and blue birthday cake. And I remember one year I just begged this little girl. I was like, please, I want a pink cake. I mean, I look back now and I'm thinking, what was the big deal, Sherry? It all tasted the same. But man, I wanted that pink icing so bad. And when my mom got that year, she got us each our own cake that way because Terry still wanted the red, white, and blue. So Mom got her the red, white, and blue, and I got a pink cake. I thought I hit the mother lode, baby. I'm just like, woohoo, you know. It was pink. And the only difference was the food coloring they put in. But at that point in my life, it really didn't matter to me. So here I am. I'm doing the star on the wand that he's carrying. And I really liked how I actually blended most of it out and was going to go back and put it in, and then decided I was not going to keep the wand. So I ended up cutting that out later. But what I had intended to do was go back in and add the shadows again, because it looked really cool and made it look really 3D. But like I said, I decided I'm going to cut it out, so I left that part out. And I'm just using my glaze pens and my Clear Star Jelly Roll pen to make everything shiny and pretty. My Stampin' Up! Chalks for his cheeks. I know a lot of you, use R20 for that, but as we know, my R20 is dying. So, but for some reason, I've still always liked to just use chalk. So I just use my white gel pen, put a couple dots on his little cheeks, go over and fix anything that I missed on his eyes, and then I get my Spectrum Noir shimmer pen out and shine that puppy up. And I wanted it to, just sparkle. And again, like I said, I eventually decided to cut the wand out, but that's okay. At the time, I didn't realize I was going to. Now, I did use my writing pen here. Where the two glaze pens went together, it wasn't even. And so to disguise that, I just went around it with the pen, and you couldn't tell one bit that it was not even and not perfect. It looked perfect, even though, I knew, and now you guys know it wasn't perfect. And now I just use my Recollection scissors to trim him the rest of the way out. And then I use my Memento dual tip marker to go around the edge and just hide the white core of the paper like I always do. I just think it looks more finished that way. And, that's my opinion. If you don't like to do that to your images, you don't have to. This is just the way I roll. Everybody else can roll their own way. Here we go. I'm going to use some distress inks here to try to make I want it to be what I remember the sky looking like when I was a little kid and we would have the fireworks. It wasn't just that the sky was black. It just had like all these amazing hues and shades. I couldn't tell you what colors they were, of course, because I'm colorblind, but I remember it looking different, especially since there were all those lights and sparkles going up into the air from the fireworks. So that's what I'm trying to create here in the background with my distress inks. And I go in, finish this up with my blueprint sketch, and I am using Strathmore Bristol Smooth. So you have to be careful to use something when you have to put your fingertips down. I mean, I had it and I had it kind of straddled with my hand, and that's okay. But if you're going to put your fingertips down, you will remove some of the ink. So you just need to be careful about that. And so I'm just going over everything, darkening it up as much as I wanted to, and getting ready to make sure that what size I wanted. I wasn't sure if I wanted it to completely cover the blue card base or did I want to leave a blue border. So I decided on leaving the border, so I cut it down. And this is my stitched box die by Crafting Desert Divas. And I love how this works. I had been wanting something like this forever, and I was so tickled when I found theirs, because it folds over and it essentially can still be just as flat as any other image you put on there, but you can make it as dimensional as you want to, which I love. So I'm just going over that with my distress inks to finish that off and to give it some definition. And then I decided to put a banner on, so I just cut it 1 by 1 3/4, and then just use my scissors to trim up the banner part. And I'm taking my white gel pen and writing USA on it, so that we have our 4th of July banner. I was going to try to do a flag, but I knew I couldn't do it justice, and I was like, forget that. So I just drew USA on it. And now here are some things that I cut from my Cricut to go inside my box. And I laid it down the way I wanted, and I'm trying to put them back in the way I wanted, and of course that never works for me, but it's all right. They still end up going in and looking good. And you'll see me, I'm trying to like discreetly pull that one on the right over a little bit. Yep, see, it don't want to go, so I had to yank it off and add some more glue. And then I just added that one firecracker type one in the front, and I kind of wish I had popped it up a little bit, but I am going to be mailing this, so it does make it a lot easier to mail if, you know, I don't have a lot of dimension, because I am going to put dimensionals under the flap of the box. And I'm just using my ATG gun to apply down, or to, you know, put the base layer on. And now I'm going to try to figure out where I want everything to go. And I just used a strip of brown that I had in my scraps and cut a little slice there for the pole. And I guess I could have even done silver like it was a flagpole. But, you know, I didn't think of that at the time, or I would have, yes. So here I'm just kind of squeezing everything in and saying, okay, what do I want to move? Where do I want to put it? And I put a little bit of glue down on that pole so that it would stay. And I'm telling you, that art glitter glue is the bomb diggity, buddy, because once it was down, it didn't want to move. It wasn't happy that I had to yank it off. So just a little bit of dimensional tape under my banner and that my bear's holding. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue down my box and get it in the position that I want. And I realized that I wasn't going to be able to keep the flaps the way I wanted them. So I go back over everything, even though I already put, you know, Spectrum Noir shimmer on the hat. I go back over it. I load this puppy up with glitter because I really want my sister to be tickled with it and like it as much as I did. And so here's where I put the tiny strips of dimensional tape just to hold the box where I wanted. And then I'm just going to come back in with my Copic colors and put a real light shadow underneath of where the box and the bear are. It's really hard to see on the screen, but you can see it really well in person. And then I decide to go ahead and, of course, cut a piece smaller to go on the inside so that I can write on it at 4 by 5 1/4. And that's it, guys. I hope you like this card. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Thanks for visiting me today, and happy crafting. Bye.